No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
And I'm going to warn you, when you
wander around your home or possibly,
which was basically my motto back then.
People who would be very famous if I were to mention.
What I'm about to share with you is one of my absolute favorite law of attraction and manifesting hacks. And I'm going to warn you, when you master this, it works insanely fast.
many years ago, I read where Napoleon Hill pointed out that the imagination is the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force that the world has ever known. And you know, the average individual uses the imagination, if they use it at all, against themselves. They imagine what they don't want. They imagine problems coming. Let's begin to use our imagination the way God meant it to be used. It's the greatest creative faculty that we possess, and we can build anything we want with it. I want you to wander around your home or possibly your office and take a look at all of the conveniences that you have there that you didn't have, let's say, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years ago, 25 years ago. Do you know that every one of them, without exception, was first created in the mind of one individual with their imagination? Do you know you can use your imagination to go into the future and bring it into the present? That's what all highly successful people do. They see where they want to go, and then they act like the person they want to become. It was William James from Harvard's advice. He said it's the actor's technique. Act like the person you want to become. How do you do that? Well, you use your imagination, of course.
Everything. Einstein, according to some, wasn't the greatest genius of our time necessarily. There was another guy, Henri Poincaré, who actually was said to have equal, if not greater, computational brain power. But what made Einstein so unique was that he took command of his imagination early on. And he would run these thought experiments, the stress, the sweat, the fear. Fear is wonderful because it sparks your imagination. Fear forces you to pretend. We imagine our way out of our disaster. Now, heading for disaster is something we do every day, but it can bring out the best in you. Each of us is writing our own scripts. We're starring, directing, and writing our own lives. Sometimes like a movie. Sometimes it's a scary movie. Sometimes a romantic comedy. And sometimes it's a docudrama. But all of it is of our own creation. And where does that movie come from? Imagination. Imagination is the engine of our lives. And it can get us into trouble. I can think of some times when we might not want to share what's happening in our imagination. And even as kids, we learned early on that if we are not focusing and paying attention, we're going to get in trouble for daydreaming. But when we use our imagination in an expected and confined way, we call this brainstorming. Well, I want to talk about using your imagination in an unconstrained and uncontrolled way that's not going to get you into trouble. Imagination fuels.
And it's processes of imagination such as these which help nourish my brain to what it is today. Now, all jokes aside, imagination has helped me, in various number of ways, such as problem-solving skills and intellectual thinking, allowing me to find solutions to problems through the most easiest way as possible or through the shortcut. Another thing imagination has helped me in was facing my fear, one of which was facing a large crowd, basically stage fright. How? Back to my lonely childhood, when I was 6 years old, I never liked to socially interact with people around me. I was basically an introvert, as some would say. As a matter of fact, I still continue it till today. I mean, I had to lie to my mother about having friends when I joined the school 2 years back. Point was, I was an introvert, and because of that, I didn't have a lot of friends. So I thought I could make friends by impressing them, which was basically my motto back then, impress them to make friends. And what other way to impress them than by being musically talented? So at the age of 6, I started learning the keyboard. Now, believe me when I say this, people have heard me play and have told me that I was pretty good and I was amazing for my age. Horrible. And I couldn't understand half or most of the words that came out of my teacher's mouth. And I told myself I wasn't going to get better. And here's the thing, the more I convinced myself that I wasn't going to get better, I became worse as time passed on. And it eventually reached a point where once we had a concert. And it was a group performance, so what could possibly go wrong? Am I right? Well, let me explain what happened. I was so self-conscious about my performance. I was so not confident in my playing that I couldn't even play in front of one person. But this was a concert we were talking about, so we were playing in front of a whole crowd. So what did I do then? Here's what I did. When they called our group up onto stage, I went to my keyboard, looked at the volume key, and lowered the volume all the way to 0. And pretended to play something and let the group do what they had to do. And yes, it actually reached a point such as that where I had to commit an action in order to prevent any form of embarrassment I would have faced if I actually played something. Now, weeks and months later, I told my dad about what happened, and he gave me some advice, and I thought this ought to be good. He told me that he used to be a band in his school days, and the way he got rid of his fear of facing a crowd was by either picturing or imagining himself facing a crowd. Now, I was 9 years old at the time, so let me tell you what I was thinking then. I was thinking that this was possibly the worst advice I received from my father.
And so words evoke experiences, not realities. And if you listen to that and you understand it, then if we use a number of words, what will begin to emerge as we put those experiences together, what do we use? A story. Another act of imagination. But imagination isn't what we think, it's how we think. Now, I like to go to the originators of this, and that would be David Hume and Immanuel Kant, who noted that the imagination is situated between our perceptions and our understanding. As Kant wrote in 1780, that we do not see the world the way it is, we see the world according to our instruments. This also could have been a quote from Daniel Kahneman's best-selling book, Thinking Fast and Slow, in 2011, which kind of gives you an idea of where we are with this. Well, first, most people wouldn't disagree with that. They go, well, yeah, of course. I don't see as well as an eagle. I don't hear or smell as well as my dog does. Our perceptions are limited. But Kant and Kahneman are saying something much more important. They're saying that our instruments of perception, our instruments of understanding are such that some things are going to be quite easy for us to perceive and understand. Some are a little bit difficult, and some of them are going to be impossible. It means the universe around us is hidden in plain sight. We can't see it. And this might raise some disagreement because you can see me standing up here and I can see you and we're in this room and that's reality, right? That's what's real. And yet most of you, I'm sure, know about Piaget and his experiments in which he would find out that young children saw a different world. He would take a glass of water and he'd take a container and he'd pour the water into it. And then he'd ask the small child, which one has more? And the child would point at this one and go, well, this one has more because it's higher. And of course, higher is more, and as we all know, more is better. There were other experiments that are not as well known. One of them involved a ball, and it's on a string, and if you spin it around and let it go, my question to you, will it go straight or will it curve or will it do something else? Think about that, because we're going to try it. Now, it's styrofoam, so mostly safe.
The way this hack works is by shifting energies and changing your expectations, because what you expect is what you attract. I'll be saying this a lot because I have to drive this one home. It's so important. What you expect is what you attract. So in order to do this manifesting hack, you're gonna have to grab a paper and pen, and let's get started. The first thing you're going to do is write down the words, "I am certain," followed by whatever it is that you intend to manifest. And I mean, actually write it. Don't just type this on your computer. Don't just say this in your mind. In order for this manifesting hack to truly work, you have to write it down on paper. So you're going to write down the words, "I am certain," and then insert the thing that you intend to manifest, but do it in present tense. It is so important that you actually write this because there is power and scientific proof that writing things down helps solidify it in your mind. So don't skip this step. Get off your chair, go get that paper and pen, and actually write the words, "I am certain," followed by the intention of what you want. And make sure you write this in present tense. That's extremely important to note. So for example, I am certain that I have blank. I am certain that blank is mine. I am certain that I have more money than I know what to do with. I am certain that I have the most amazing, supportive, loving partner. I am certain that this is mine. So you write down the words, "I am certain," followed by a statement of the thing that you intend to manifest in present tense as if it's already here and that you're certain of it. And after you write it down, I want you to sit in the feeling and the energy of being certain that it's yours for as long as you need. And this feeling of certainty can feel different for each person. Maybe it just feels like this wave of comfort and relief that you are so certain of it that you don't have to worry about when and how. Just feel the feelings of being 100% totally certain that it's going to happen, and it's so obvious that you can't imagine it not happening. Just like how you are totally certain of the things that you expect throughout your day, explore the feeling of certainty that this thing will for sure happen no matter what. What does that feel like to you?